Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. I walked into the bedroom still smelling like brake fluid and cold coffee, and Megan snapped her phone face down so fast it skittered across the comforter. She looked up at me like a kid caught stuffing a cookie in her pocket. No hello. No, how was your day, Mark? Just a quick swallow, a fake little smile, and 2 fingers resting over the phone like it might run away if she blinked. Hey, I started, setting my work bag by the dresser. Didn't hear you come in, she tossed back. Too light, too even. Her eyes were on the lamp, not me. You looked busy. I was reading something. On a lock screen? I lifted a brow. She ignored it and reached for the folded laundry like that had been her plan all along. If I'd known where that was headed, I would have gone straight back to the garage and slept on the creeper. I let it slide. One odd beat doesn't make a song. We'd been married 8 years. I still wanted to believe small things were just small. I took a shower, ate leftover chicken standing at the counter, watched her drift from room to room like she had someplace better to be. When she finally drifted out the door with a quick, going to see Cass, I wiped my hands, looked at the quiet house, and decided I was done pretending I didn't notice. By Friday, it wasn't just the phone. It was the new habit of talking over me, of scheduling me without asking, of acting like my time was elastic and hers was gold. It was the way she smiled when I asked a straight question, like I'd told a joke. Saturday morning, I laid out bacon in the cast iron, set 2 mugs on the counter, and waited for her to wander in. She came in wearing a sweatshirt that wasn't mine and scrolled while I worked. You want eggs? I asked. Maybe later. Brunch with the girls, she said, not looking up. We'll be out late. Don't wait. How late? Depends. On what? Dessert or the weather? I kept it neutral. God, Mark, why the interrogation? Time planning, not interrogation. I slid bacon onto a plate and watched grease pop. Don't make this weird. She tapped her phone with her thumb. We're adults. There's a difference between adult and secretive, I told the skillet. She sighed loud enough to rattle the measuring spoons. I'm not hiding anything. Then you won't mind telling me when you'll be back. Stop, she clipped. You're being controlling. I set her plate in front of her, untouched. Here's my new rule, I said, keeping my voice easy. If you're out past 10, text me your ETA. If you can't, then I'm turning in and locking up. No drama, just clarity. She snorted. You're locking me out now? I'm locking the house, I replied. I'm a light sleeper and I get up at 5. I'm done staying up till 2 listening for footsteps. Wow, so romantic. Romance starts with respect, I added. We can work on the flowers later. She chewed a bacon corner like it had wronged her, then left the plate and disappeared down the hall. 10 minutes later, she came out with a small toad and air-kissed the room. Don't wait up, she repeated. You said that. I rinsed the pan, turned off the burner. Text your ETA. Sure, Dad. Try husband, I said, but she was already halfway out. I spent the afternoon at the shop with the bay door open, working on a neighbor's old Dodge. The engine noise cleared my head. Around 6, my phone buzzed, running late. Don't wait. No time. Nowhere. Cass, her friend, had liked a photo tagged at a new rooftop bar downtown. Megan wasn't in the frame, or she had learned to stay out of frames. People do that when they're trying to keep 2 lives from colliding. At 9, my phone stayed quiet. At 11, same. At 1, I locked up, slid in earplugs, and slept hard. She came in around 3. I knew because the dog thumped his tail once and then settled like even he knew better. In the morning, there was a candle burning on the island and a note propped against it. Sorry. Fun ran long. Brunch rain check. The handwriting was neat, careful. That was her first softening move. Textbook. I let the candle burn down while I brewed coffee and considered whether I wanted pancakes or just silence. She emerged around 10 with a fresh face and damp hair. You're up, she tried. Yeah, that happens at 10. I said I was sorry. You left at 10, returned at 3, and told me nothing. I said, sipping. You don't owe me a fairy tale. You owe me a basic timeline. You're overreacting. I'm reacting exactly the amount required, I replied. And I'm protecting my sleep. So we're doing this. She leaned on the counter. House rules. Clarity. I repeated and slid my cup away. One more thing. I'm changing how we handle money. Her eyes sharpened. What does that mean? Shared account becomes bills only on Monday. Your card will still pay utilities and mortgage. Discretionary spending goes from our separate accounts. Transparency solves arguments. That's passive-aggressive. It's assertive, I corrected. You live how you want. I keep the lights on and stop guessing where the weekends go. So you don't trust me, she said. I trust what people show me, I answered. Show me well. She stared at me for a long second, then the edges softened. Okay, I get it. I'll text. I'll be better about scheduling. I didn't mean to make you worry. It isn't worry, I said. It's respect. She stepped closer, rested her hand on my shoulder, and gave me an old smile. I hear you, she added. That was her first illusion of change. She made breakfast, laughed at a dumb video, and sat on the couch with her feet on my thigh like we were a couple in a furniture ad. By afternoon, she was out to pick up a few things, and by evening I saw Cass's photo of a patio fire pit with 4 wine glasses. Again, no Megan. Again, the missing tooth in the smile. Monday morning I was at the bank when they unlocked the door. By lunch, the bills were set to auto-draft and the shared debit card was in an envelope with a note, for utilities only. I took a picture for my records, not to gloat. Systems, not speeches. At the shop, Jason wheeled a tire stack past me and grinned. Jason's 30, quick with jokes, and never met a silence he didn't want to fill. You look like a guy who moved beans on a spreadsheet, he said. Everything good. Just simplifying, I answered. Your wife's still doing those late girls things. He didn't mean anything by it. He's the kind who asks what he's thinking. Apparently, I said, tightening a belt. I set a return time rule. How'd that go over? Like steamed broccoli at a kid's party. He chuckled. Man, communication is a war zone. At our house, I told him, wiping my hands, it's now a toll road. At 5, Megan called while I was wiping down the bench. Hey, she started, sugar in the voice. So about the bank thing. It's done, I said. That was fast. Clarity is faster than drama. I get it, she said, quick. It makes sense. And thanks for handling the boring stuff. Not boring to me. I know. She softened again, second softening prelude, but not the big one. Listen, I'm thinking of hosting a couples game night Friday. We haven't had people over in a while. I work Saturdays, I reminded her. I'm out for late nights before an early start. It's just a few rounds, she pushed. You can bow out after the first. Or, I told Defender, we do a Sunday afternoon barbecue instead. Daylight version. I'll handle the grill, you handle the invite. Clear in time. Silence. Fine, she said. Sunday. Then, lighter. We're good, right? We're on the right page if the words match the actions, I replied. She sighed, but said nothing. Sunday came, and the yard smelled like charcoal and grass clippings. Jason brought potato salad and a story about a customer who swore his engine misfired only when the moon was full. Our neighbor Mrs. Alvarez arrived with a tray of something wrapped in foil and 2 grandkids who immediately found the dog. Cass showed up last, nodded at me like she'd eaten nails for breakfast, and hugged Megan for a second too long. During the first hour, Megan floated. She laughed loud at the wrong moments, touched her phone every few minutes, and blew past me when I asked her to grab plates. At the grill, Jason leaned in. You two okay? Define okay, I said. Not throwing condiments, he said. But tight. We're recalibrating. Ah, he nodded. Software update. Halfway through, Megan took center patio with a drink and decided sarcasm was sport. You know what Mark did this week, she announced to the semicircle. He turned our bank account into a monastery. Mrs. Alvarez blinked. Jason smirked. It's called budgeting, I answered, flipping chicken. The house appreciates it. You mean you appreciate control? She shot back. Words matter, I replied. So do bills. Jason cut in. I do the bills at my place too. Keeps me honest about how many times I visit the taco truck. Megan waved him off. I'm just saying, when did we decide we live by spreadsheets? When receipts started calling themselves secrets, I said. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. It landed. Cass muttered. Maybe this isn't patio talk. Megan rolled her eyes. You want patio talk? I went on. Here it is. If I'm not invited to the details, I'm not funding the mysteries. That's my line. Cass's head snapped toward me. Megan's grip tightened on her drink. You're acting like I'm. Don't finish that. I cut in. Because I'm not using that word. I'm using math. She forced a laugh and stepped closer to me like she could dominate the air. You're making me look bad. You did that, I said, moving the platter to the table. I just brought the chicken. Mrs. Alvarez coughed delicately. Food smells nice, she offered, bless her for trying. The conversation shifted, the tension didn't. Megan spent the rest of the afternoon being loud and busy, like sound could fix what behavior broke. After the last guest left, she followed me to the sink. You embarrassed me, she said. You announced our finances like a weather report. I answered, stacking plates. I answered, next time, don't open the door you don't want people to walk through. You're punishing me. I'm setting boundaries, I said. If that feels like punishment, maybe the behavior doesn't fit the boundary. She put the sponge down hard. You're not fun anymore. I'm not a theme park, I said. I'm your husband. Or I was. She went quiet at that. Then the second illusion of change arrived the next morning. She woke me with a kiss on the cheek, brewed coffee, packed me a sandwich, and slipped a sticky note into my lunch. Proud of you. She had handwriting for every occasion. At noon, she texted, dinner on me tonight. Your favorite steaks. I stared at the message, felt a small, tired warmth, and answered, okay. Don't mistake that for trust. Call it professional courtesy to the effort. Dinner was easy. Conversation was careful. She asked about break jobs. I asked about her sister. After we ate, she put her phone in the junk drawer and closed it with a little flourish like she wanted points. See, she smiled. Present. I can appreciate that, I told her. We watched a show. We went to bed at the same time for the first time in weeks. At 1 a.m., her phone, the one in the drawer, chimed from across the house. Twice. 3 times. She didn't move. Who needs you at 1 in the morning? I asked the ceiling. No one, she said too quickly. Spam. Spam texts in triplicate, I murmured. That's a new feature. In the morning, she was sweet again. Then she was gone again. That's how illusions work. 2 days later, I was in the shop alone when my phone vibrated with a name that made me pause. Cassandra. I hit answer with a greasy thumb. Mark. Her voice was tight, like she was about to jump off a high dive. Can you talk? Make it straight, I said. I can't hold it anymore, she blurted. I can't. I tried to stay out, but I can't watch you stand there. Stand where? I leaned on the bench. In the dark, she said. Megan isn't. She's not with girls every time. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had my suspicions, I told her. That isn't proof. I know, she said quickly. I know you don't have to believe me. You shouldn't. But I have pictures. From last weekend. I didn't want to take them. I did anyway. Why? Because you're not stupid, and this is wrong, she said, all in one breath. I'm sending them. Now. Cass. I said, keeping my voice level. I don't take anyone's word on faith. Send what you think you need to send. I know, she whispered. Check your phone. She hung up. A message arrived a second later. I opened it. 2 photos. Rooftop lighting. Megan turned toward a man with a sharp haircut and a shirt too tight for his age. Their faces inches apart. His hand on her hip, her hand on his jacket. The kind of posture that isn't friendship and isn't curiosity either. Another shot near the bar, her head tilting into his shoulder, not quite touching, like what happens when you think the world isn't looking. You don't need captions if cameras don't lie. The workbench felt suddenly very clean under my hands. I saved the images to a locked folder and exhaled once slow. Thank you, I texted back. I appreciate clarity. I'm sorry, she wrote. I should have said something sooner. This is soon enough, I replied. Then I washed my hands, closed the shop 15 minutes early, and drove to the place where life gets organized when feelings aren't enough. No speeches, no threats. Paperwork exists for a reason. I signed what I needed to sign, asked the questions a calm man asks, and gathered the packet the way you gather instructions for a new tool. On the way home, I stopped at the hardware store for moving boxes and a set of door hardware that doesn't require a locksmith if you know how to read a diagram. At home, I didn't wait for an argument. I set boxes on our bed, my bed, now, and pulled her side of the closet one hanger at a time. I folded carefully, not out of tenderness, but so I didn't have to touch any of it again. I filled 3 boxes, taped tops, and labeled them with a black marker. Bedroom, bathroom, desk. Facts, not drama. Megan texted at 7. Dinner with girls. I didn't answer. At 9. Back late. I set my phone on Do Not Disturb and wrapped another frame in bubble wrap. At 10 the next morning, a message arrived that wasn't a lie pretending to be a courtesy. Traveling for a few days. Back Monday. I'll explain later. Don't worry. Just like that. No where. No why. No who. I stared at the word explain until it stopped meaning anything. Then I typed the only message I sent all week. No problem, honey. Explain it to my attorney. He loves stories. The call started within minutes. Unknown numbers. Her number. Cass. Then her sister. Then her number again. Voicemails stacked up like parking tickets. I ignored them. I finished packing. I changed the locks. I moved the photo of our wedding from the hallway to the bottom of a box marked miscellaneous and taped it twice so I wouldn't have to look at it by accident. On Thursday, I dealt with logistics at work. I walked into the office and told Angie, our admin, cut Megan from the emergency contact. Add my brother. If she calls, transfer to me, not my cell. Angie looked at me with a kind of soft sadness that doesn't ask questions. You got it, Mark. Jason cornered me at the soda machine. You good? I'm efficient, I said. That's not an answer. It's the only one I've got for the break room, I told him. Change is happening. Want to hit the range this weekend? He asked. Busy, I said. Housekeeping. Back home, I folded another stack of clothes and set it in the suitcase my wife used for weddings and mini getaways. I charged her tablet, slid it in the front pocket, and set the suitcase by the door. Then I sat at the dining table with a pen and made a short list. Keys changed. Utilities confirmation. Personal items boxed. Packet and envelope. Friday afternoon, the second illusion of change came with frosting. A courier dropped a box from a bakery with a card. Miss you. Can we reset? I went away to clear my head. Inside, a dozen cupcakes staring up like they were going to fix the math. I ate none. I set the box on the porch for the neighborhood kids and texted Cass. Cupcakes on my steps. If you want one, take one. She replied in under a minute. She's spiraling. I told her she needs to talk to you. She says you're being cruel. I'm being silent, I wrote. Silence isn't cruelty. It's math again. Cass asked, do you need anything? No, I answered. You did enough. Saturday night, Megan's sister sent a long message full of question marks and passive voice. I chose not to educate her. Education was coming without my help. Sunday, I polished the truck and changed the oil because habits keep you sane. I played catch with Mrs. Alvarez's grandkids for 10 minutes and sent them home with the last 2 cupcakes. I sat on the porch while the sun slid down the street and thought about what I would say on Monday when the person who used to share my bed tried to take back the door. Monday came gray and damp. At 11:08, the handle rattled the way it does when you're used to a certain click and you get a different one. The rattle turned frantic. Then the knocking. Mark. Her voice cracked through wood and glass. Mark, my key's not working. I walked to the door, let the deadbolt stay where it was, and waited a beat. Then I opened the door just wide enough to keep my foot inside. What's going on? She demanded, hair pulled back like she'd run from the car. Why won't my key work? I stepped aside and nodded toward the suitcases. These are yours. And this is yours. I set the manila envelope on top. It was fat with truth. She stared, then laughed, a wild little sound. This isn't funny. I agree, I said. What is this? She touched the envelope with one finger like it might be hot. Instructions, I said. And the end of this arrangement. You can't just. I can, I replied. And I am. What are you talking about? She asked, raising her hands, palms up, like the room owed her answers. I went to see friends. I needed space. You changed the locks? Are you serious right now? You traveled, I corrected. You didn't tell me where. You told me not to worry. I didn't. I took steps. She shook her head hard. You're being dramatic. I packed your things, I said. No yelling. No drama. Just facts. I'm your wife. She pushed, lowering her voice like the neighbors were suddenly a problem. You were, I corrected. Open the envelope. I'm not. It's not a suggestion. She tore it open like she was teaching the paper a lesson. She skimmed the top page, then the next, then stopped. She looked up at me, angry, then something else, then nothing. Her eyes flicked to the photographs tucked inside the packet. She didn't pull them all the way out, just enough to know what they were. Where did you get those? She whispered. They arrived, I said. She swallowed. It's not what it looks like. Don't insult both of us, I replied. Mark, please. I'm done with please, I said. You said you'd explain. You can explain to the professional I hired to translate explanations into exits. You're going to throw away our marriage because of a hug? She tried. You're going to pretend you don't know what you did because you want to keep the house, I answered. Different strategies, same outcome. She blinked fast. You can't kick me out of my home. Your suitcase is inside the door, I said calmly. I'm not preventing you from taking anything. I'm preventing you from using me while you live a second schedule. You're paranoid, she said, grasping. Look again at the photos, I answered. Then decide if paranoid is the right word. Her jaw worked. She looked down at the top photo and then back up at me. Who sent these? A friend who got tired of playing lookout, I said. Cass, she hissed. Don't take it out on the one person who remembered right and wrong, I told her. I can explain, she said again. Don't, I said. There's a list inside. It includes a time tomorrow when you can come with someone and pick up whatever we missed. After that, I'm not here. You're not here where? She demanded. In your life? I said. You're making a mistake. I made plenty, I answered. I'm done making this one. She took a half step in, testing the threshold. I didn't move. She stopped. You're cold, she said. I'm clear, I corrected. That's different. She looked at the boxes again like they might change their labels if she stared. Then she tried one more angle. We can try counseling, she said quickly. We can reset. I'll cut off. She stopped, realizing she'd nearly said something she couldn't unsay. I'll fix it. You don't fix broken trust with a coupon, I replied. What do you want me to say? She demanded, running out of script. I don't want your lines, I said. I want your suitcase out of my hallway. She stood silent, breathing through her nose, then grabbed the handle of the first case and yanked it past the threshold. The wheels thunked down the entry step. She loaded the second one on top and hugged the envelope like a life jacket. Mark, she said finally, quieter, how did we get here? I let that hang for a second. One small disrespect at a time. You train me not to ask. I train myself to act. That's how. She swallowed again. And that's it. That's it, I said. Photos are with the papers. You can look. I closed the door gently, not a slam, just the sound of wood meeting wood when it's in alignment. She didn't ring again. She didn't scream. She stood on the porch long enough for me to hear the wheels roll, then the car door open, then close. After 10 minutes, Mrs. Alvarez texted, "Everything okay?" I replied, "Everything's in its proper place." The house felt different in a way that wasn't relief and wasn't grief either. It was clean. I made a sandwich, ate it standing up, and threw away the bakery card still sitting on the porch. The next weeks were quiet. I slept hard without listening for keys. I moved my tools into the spare room and set up a workbench where her vanity used to be. I started running again with Jason before our shift. At night, I sat on the porch with a book and watched the neighborhood do what neighborhoods do. Kids riding, sprinklers ticking, someone burning something on a grill and pretending it was on purpose. Peace is underrated until you've been budgeting for it. Her parents started texting around week 2. Hi, Mark. We haven't heard from Megan much. Is she okay? Hey, Mark, we're worried. She says it's a misunderstanding. Can we talk? Then, later, we don't want to take sides. We just want to know what happened. I didn't answer. Not because I wanted to punish them. Because they were innocent and didn't need my version to go to bed angry at their daughter. When they asked again, I sent a single line. I don't want to upset you. That was true. Their disappointment wasn't mine to manage. Cass texted sometimes. At first it was logistics. She's picking up another box Tuesday. Can you leave it on the porch? Then it was small check-ins. Eat tonight, she wrote once. Already did, I replied. She came by twice, the second time with coffee from a place across town that didn't stamp their cups with marketing. She stayed on the porch, sat on the top step like a neighbor, and talked about nothing for 20 minutes. Her nephew's baseball game, a stray cat at her complex, the pie crust she was trying to master. When she stood to go, she hesitated. You hate me now? She asked, not quite joking. No, I said. You told the truth when it mattered. She nodded, eyes on the street. We okay? As people. We're people, I said. We can be friends. That's it. That's it. She repeated and left it there. Money stayed simple. The house stayed mine. Paperwork that needed filing got filed without theatrics. The truck remained exactly the truck I chose, and no one rolled their eyes when I changed a part that wasn't broken yet. Jason and I fixed up an old motorcycle in the evenings and sold it for a decent profit. Mrs. Alvarez's grandkids came by with cookies that tasted like sugar and something else probably illegal in 10 states, and I took one anyway because they watched my face to see if I would. Megan, I heard through Cass and through the occasional piece of mail with a forwarding sticker, moved back in with her parents. She told them she needed a break from the city. I didn't correct the record. She got a part-time job in a boutique near their neighborhood. She posted pictures of sunsets without comments turned on. Her mother texted me more than once for an explanation I wouldn't give. I owed them kindness, not a blow-by-blow. Sometimes, late, I walked through the house and saw all the spaces where we used to be a we. The mirror that wasn't crowded with her products. The closet with room to breathe. The couch with a single dent where I sit. I don't pretend it didn't sting. It did. But pain doesn't mean you made the wrong call. It just means you waited too long to make it. People think winning is fireworks. Sometimes it's not answering the door when trouble knocks with cupcakes. Sometimes it's a quiet porch and a solid deadbolt, and a man who uses both correctly. A month after she took the last box, Cass sent one more text. Do you regret it? Only the time, I wrote back. Not the decision. She replied with a thumbs up that didn't need words, and I went back to my book. If I learned anything, it's that respect isn't a speech. It's a system. You put your name on the deed. You put your hands on work that matters. You say what line you won't let anyone cross, and then you stand where you said you would. You don't ask for applause. You don't ask for permission. You don't ask for a story when you already saw the pictures. You exit, you lock up, and you go live a better life with your time pointed forward. That's where I am. New habits. New peace. My house is a home again. A truck that starts every time. Friends who show up with tools, not drama. A woman who texts me sometimes about porch coffee and nothing else, and that's enough. And behind me, a chapter closed with one sentence at a doorway. Photos are inside with the papers. You can look. That's the last thing I needed to say. Everything after that is quiet. And God, quiet is good. And it's even better when you subscribe.